Hi, my name is Mike Barrett from acetogre.com, also from testingiseasy.com, and in this quick video I want to share with you a very important warning about using free GRE prep questions that you find online. See, the thing is, there's a lot of fake GRE tests out there. If you go to Google and you search something like online GRE practice test or free GRE practice questions or whatever, you're going to find lots and lots and lots of sites that have made up their own practice GRE questions for you, and they let you use those questions for free. That sounds like it's nice of them, but it's actually a pretty big problem for us. You see, the thing is, if you want to get good at beating the GRE, it's really, really critical that you learn how the test actually operates. Every standardized test functions according to certain standards that the testing company comes up with, and they use those standards sort of as unwritten guidelines that will affect the way every real test question is prepared. If you've noticed that real GRE questions have a certain kind of feeling to them or whatever that seems to come up over and over again, and you can't quite put your finger on where that feeling is coming from, it's this. It's the fact that the questions are standardized. Now, the GRE, the ETS, they don't really share with us necessarily what those standards are, but if we look at a wide enough cross-section of real GRE questions actually prepared by the ETS, then with some clever analysis we can start to figure out a little bit what's allowed on the test, what's not allowed, what things appear constantly with other things, or what things don't appear, or whatever. The thing is, only the real tests are guaranteed to behave exactly like real tests, right? Only the actual questions published by the ETS and created by the ETS are going to behave precisely like ETS questions. If anybody else tries to make up fake GRE questions, there's not really any way for us to know, as people outside of the ETS organization, there's no way for us to know which questions could really appear and which ones couldn't. So it's very, very critical that we only use real GRE questions and not fake ones that are prepared by people who run their own third-party websites. This is especially critical when you realize that the GRE is what's called a computer adaptive test, meaning the GRE actually adapts the questions that it presents to you. It adapts those things in response to your performance on earlier parts of the test. In the current version of the GRE, each of the two major sections has like two subsections in it. It's like when you take math, there's math section 1 and math section 2 on the computerized test. And after you complete math section 1, the computer is going to use a special proprietary algorithm developed by the ETS, and it's going to use that algorithm to figure out which questions to show you in section 2 based on how you did on section 1. Nobody except the ETS is guaranteed to know exactly how that computer algorithm works. So, I would strongly advise that you only work with real actual tests because, again, such a critical part of doing well on any standardized test is learning how the test actually operates, and only the real GRE questions produced by the actual ETS company itself, only those things are guaranteed to work like real questions because only those things are real questions. So that kind of begs another question, which is how do you actually go about getting these real GRE questions that I'm talking about? There's only one source of them. It's not me, obviously. I work on helping people beat the GRE. I don't give them real test questions because I am not the ETS. I'm not allowed to. There is only one source that actually can give you these real GRE test questions, and it is the ETS itself. Now, the ETS, as I mentioned earlier, is the company that actually creates the GRE and administers the GRE, and they are the only ones with the rights to the questions that they have created. You can download some free software from the ETS website, and that software will contain some practice questions, some PDFs on basic math ideas and things like that. It will also contain an entire full-length, real, computerized version of the GRE. And again, we know it's real because it's created by the actual ETS, which is the company that knows exactly how the computerized test is created. You can also order a book of questions if you'd rather have that, and you can order that from ets.org or from amazon.com. Personally, I prefer to use Amazon just because it's much easier to use than ETS. If you go on Amazon and search something like ETS official GRE or something like that, you should have no difficulty finding the official GRE prep book. Now, again, just like there are websites full of fake questions for the GRE, there are also tons of books full of fake questions for the GRE. Just like you should only use the ETS website to get questions for the GRE, you should also only use the ETS book to get questions for the GRE. If you want to know how to find the software, just Google the phrase ETS Power Prep 2 and right at the top of the results should be a link to download the PowerPrep software from ETS. It's called PowerPrep 2, by the way, because the version for the earlier version of the GRE was just PowerPrep. So now that we have a new version of the GRE, it's PowerPrep 2. So that's it. That's where you get the real GRE questions. One other thing, by the way, when you get those real questions, like I said, they're absolutely critical to use. But I would strongly advise you actually not to take the test-taking advice of the ETS to heart. I don't know if the ETS just doesn't realize there's a better way to take the GRE, or maybe they do realize it, they don't want you to know, I have no idea. But the fact remains that the advice you'll get from the actual ETS book and the actual ETS website on how to take the GRE is flawed in my opinion. And if you think about it, it would sort of not be in their best interest to tell everybody whatever. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I always thought it was kind of weird to take test-taking advice from the company that makes the test, because the company that makes the test needs it to happen that not everybody does well on the test, otherwise there'd be no point. Anyway, if you'd like to learn my ideas on how to beat these real ETS questions, please go over and take a look at acethegre.com. You can sign up there for free. You'll get some free training videos and things like that. You can also look at my blog, testingiseasy.com, which has a lot of articles on the GRE, other standardized tests, on standardized testing in general. All kinds of useful stuff if you are getting ready to start this journey. Again, remember, only use real questions. I would strongly advise you not to use the strategies that come along with those real questions from the ETS, but definitely only rely on the ETS for your practice questions. If you do anything else, you run a very real risk that you'll end up reinforcing bad habits. And this might sound weird, but in my opinion, practicing with badly written fake questions can actually be more damaging than helpful. So again, only use real questions from the ETS. You can find them with a simple Google search. You can go straight to ets.org. Just Google the phrase ETS PowerPrep 2, and that should definitely help. So thanks very much for watching this. I hope I have saved you some time and some frustration using the wrong types of questions and the wrong types of strategies. And I will see you over at acethegre.com. Thanks.